What's going on, guys? Welcome to another live session with your boy Phrankleen. So let's see who's online. Um, Today, story time. So I'm basically going to go through um, an email from one of you guys. Okay. If this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. If you like what I'm about, feel free to hit the like button. Let me pull up the email. Um, if you're joining the live session, say hello. If you can hear me, hit the like button. Hello. Right. So this one, story time, as I said, it's an email from one of the viewers. I'm gonna read this one and then we just crack on. Edith, good evening. Bonsoir de Paris. What's going on, Fatima? Good evening. Should I wait for a few more people to come on? How am I today? I'm good, thank you. What's good, bro, from Dallas, Texas? Hi, Peter. I'm good, man. I'm good. It's cold. It's freezing cold, man. Kazim Majik. What's going on, bro? Right. From my end, it's about 21 people online. Okay. So it's a very short email. It's basically a brother who is concerned about the issues he's going through. So he's asked for my advice. Hi, Phrankleen. I need an advice for something that's going on in my life. So he said, I recently caught my wife of 15 years cheating on me with a friend of a friend. I have moved out of the house, excuse me, which we own together, and I'm never taking her back. Fair enough. Because of what she's done. Um, because I wouldn't take her back, and because I was in the process of applying for my British passport, her family and friends are now going around saying I used her to get my papers, which is BULLSHIT. I've had my permanent residence card for 8 years now. My question is this: if I file for divorce, does it affect my permanent residence? And what do I do? Hmm. So it's a pretty, short email. It goes straight to the point. Um, this gentleman, I actually wanted to talk about a totally different topic, but I've had a long day, so I thought I'd do a live session, and then this caught my attention in my inbox, and I thought, okay, let me read it. So, if you're just joining me, I'll just go through it again very quickly. This gentleman talks about he caught his wife for 15 years cheating with a friend of a friend. So he decided to move out of the house that they both own together. And he's basically saying he's never going to take the woman back. And said, because he said he wouldn't take her back and he was in the process of applying for his British passport, her family and friends are now claiming, blackmailing him and saying he used that to get papers, which he says is in fact, nonsense. He's claimed to have had his permanent residence for 8 years. So he's then concerned about, will the divorce affect his, permanent residence? Right. I'm going to say something to you, brother. It's very important if you're concerned about if your divorce is going to affect your permanent residence or you obtaining your British passport, which I doubt very much, but I would suggest realistically that you get legal advice from an immigration lawyer, okay? I'm going to give you my own views, but I will also advise you it's sensible to speak to an immigration expert. Should take few minutes because that's what they are inclined to do, and I can assure you that they will be able to um, advise you. But before we talk about that, so you caught your missus, right? 15 years marriage. Unfortunately, I don't have any further background to this other than the fact that he caught his wife, smashing a friend of a friend. Of course, that's absolutely, it's emotionally shattering, man. Let's call a spade a spade. Yeah, anybody would lose their rag. And if it was vice versa, if it was a woman that caught, you would equally lose your rag. So I can understand how absolutely devastating this is for the gentleman, and he's moved out. But you see, I suppose it's a black community thing. It's a very common thing in our community, and for those of you that have been following me for a minute, I've got tons of videos that I've made in the past, and I remember making. I can't off the top of my head now tell you which of the episodes, but I mentioned this in the past that this whole immigration, getting papers, I gave you papers, I was the one that gave you your status, I helped you get your papers, is a big deal in the black community. Like, it's so bad that we tend to even weaponize it. So, if a man gives a woman papers or a woman gives a man papers, God forbid that you then piss off the woman tomorrow morning or you piss off that man tomorrow morning, the conversation will find its way, and anchor itself into the fact that, oh, yeah, I brought you into the UK. It was me that brought you from Africa, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you ungrateful, such and such and such. And as soon as the man doesn't give you the $200 that you're asking him for, it was me that gave him his papers. And then the extended families weigh in. You can never do anything right. It's a very common, absolutely irritating and despicable problem within the black community, the immigrant community. Is very common. You hear this a lot. It's so irritating, but it's got to be really crazy, heartless, and very wicked bunch of family members that will know that their own daughter, who you've been with for 15 years, cheated on you, and then they turn blind eyes to that, and then they basically are then trying to apply sentiment. I'm going by the email. Sometimes when you see the full context to a story, it could be slightly different. But based on what this gentleman has said, I'm just going to put it to you straight, man. Don't let anybody tie you down with some drummed up type of guilt. Don't feel guilty. She's absolutely let you down. And if you feel like you want to get out of that relationship, just get out. Okay? In fact, if you've got evidence, I don't see which court in the land she's going to go to and then try to suggest that, oh, you've used that to get your papers. So basically, they're trying to create a false narrative now to discredit you by saying, oh, you've only used that to get your papers. So if it's genuine that you caught her smashing, having an affair with a friend of a friend, I'm shocked. But then I'm not particularly shocked because there's a lot of nonsense that goes around whereby African families are known for being crazily sentimental, right? People will see the truth and they will turn blind eye to it and start saying, you should forgive her. It's nothing to be worried about. Oh, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. And let me say this, if the table were to be turned, I can tell you this, and I'm saying this from a man's perspective, right? Now it's a brother, right? Now they can say, oh yeah, oh you use that to get your papers because you're saying you're no longer interested. If it was the guy in question were to be the guilty party, believe me, they would tear him to shreds. You get all these things. Oh, men are trash. Men are this. Men are blah blah blah. You know the gist, right? But my dude, if you get to watch this video, feel free to walk out of that relationship, man. You throw the keg of gasoline boom, let it explode. You know, like they do in the movies, like boom, and just walk away, man. I'm not saying literally, don't go and get a keg of gasoline and go and cause arson attack. That's not what Phrankleen is saying. It's a figure of speech, okay? Don't say it was a YouTuber that asked me to buy a keg of gasoline and set the house ablaze. So what I'm saying is, just walk away. Walk away and go find your peace and happiness, and hopefully you gain closure. Just walk away. So the whole idea of oh, she gave you papers, you're not going to walk away. You've had your permanent residence for about 8 years. I don't see that affecting your British citizenship. I think what's really important about becoming, when you apply for British citizenship, is when they do checks on you, which they will do if you want to apply for your, for your citizenship for the first time, is they do checks on you that you haven't got any police records, you haven't got, any criminal records and things like that. You're not a threat to the state, and yeah, and every other box is, as long as you meet the requirement, you pay your fees and stuff, then I don't see why you shouldn't get your British citizenship. The fact that you separated from a partner has nothing to do with the actual set of requirement. If you've got a permanent residence for 8 years, of course, this is life. This is real life. People break up every day. So if you break up and you move on with your life and you want to apply for your citizenship, I don't see how that will affect you. Let me see if people are commenting. Usually, some cultures, somebody said something, believe when a woman cheats, it's a criminal behavior. Spiritually speaking, it's belittling. I don't know about the spiritual side of things, man. That's really deep. Um, um, Spiritually speaking, yeah, that one caught me off. What's spiritual about it? The friend of a friend, what was he getting besides sex? Hey, man, it's crazy. Crazy stuff happened. This is life. She was smashing the friend of a friend, and she got exposed. And then unfortunately, in the black community, there's a whole lot of sentiments. There's sentiments rather than people being constructive. If I was a member of that woman's family, I wouldn't even open my mouth to put my mouth in that type of business, and I'll be in the background just shamefully, just shaking my head, because you've pretty much given the family a bad name through your own actions, your own decisions as an adult. But for people then to try to emotionally abuse or try to say to the guy that, oh, you can't leave her alone because maybe she gave you, man, that's nonsense, man. What do you think? What do you guys think? Do you think differently? You think the guy, I don't know, man. Who am I to even say, forgive her or whatever floats your boat, really? I don't know the lady and stuff. I don't know if there was a background story to, what led her to go and have an affair with a friend of a friend. I don't know. Even if the gentleman in question, and I'm talking hypothetically with all due respect, even if his genitalia was flaccid for the last 15 years, I don't see that as a justifiable reason. You could have just easily walked out of a relationship, do you know what I mean? But you went to smash a friend of a friend, you smashed his emotions, to smithereens, and that's that. Forgive her, but move on without her. But you see, the issue of forgiveness is subjective, man. It's crazy. If you've been so invested in someone, some people might be able to just say, okay, I forgive you, and some people may never be able to forgive. We're all wired differently. That's just the reality about life. If the lady is remorseful and ready to make amends, then maybe. Clara said, if the lady is remorseful, well, how do you know though? If you're the victim of circumstance, even if she's remorseful, that means there is a process, is all I'm trying to say. It's all emotional. It's a mental warfare. You then have to be in that state of mind where you find it mentally conducive and comfortable to say you forgive and you're willing to move forward. That's a whole lot of process. People might be able to do it. If you can't forgive, yeah, brother, just move on, man. Move on. That's not going to affect your citizenship. But like I said, go and get immigration advice. It should be a brief chat with an immigration expert, and you would know what your choices are, okay? He will get his citizenship. My husband was in a similar situation with his ex-wife. He walked out of the marriage with permanent residence, and when he applied for citizenship, he got it in a heartbeat. Oh, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that story. So that's me done. Okay, it's a very short story. I think I waffled on a bit. Thank you for watching. It's a brief session. I hope to catch you later on in the week. Listen, for those of you watching, send an email to foodchannel1960@gmail.com. I want to read your stories. I want to be able to make videos and talk about it. Not just relationship. It could be anything. It could be your wife stole your 20,000 pounds savings. It could be you're trying to do a business with someone and then they did you dirty. You committed something in the hands of your mother, your mother, and she sold you out. Or whatever story, man, that other people can learn from. We can all learn from. You're on the braids. Well, you're late, but you can have a playback. Okay, it's your boy Phrankleen. And yeah, if you like what I'm about, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. Have you heard of the SPAC Nation church scandal? Yes, I did hear about the SPAC Nation thing. I wanted to make a video. I feel some type of way about it. I will definitely catch you in the next one. Peace and love. Bye now.